Welcome to the Daily Devotional Podcast with author, pastor, and speaker Zach Maldonado, a podcast about helping you know and enjoy Christ each day.
Well, hey, and welcome back to the Daily Devotional Podcast. If you're enjoying this and you're listening on Apple, or even if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, would you mind sharing this or liking it or even leaving a review on Apple if you are, and share this with a friend and encourage someone. You know, Paul prays this amazing prayer for us, and really, I believe the heart of the Father, it's God's prayer for us too. And he picks up in verse 14, he says, "For this reason, I kneel before the Father, from whom every family in heaven and on earth derives its name." Do you recognize that we get our identity, we get our name from God? I love that. He says this, "I pray that out of his glorious riches, he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being." So Paul's praying and he's saying, I pray that you would know that God would strengthen you, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts. Do you recognize that God lives in your heart? Isn't that an amazing truth to unpack, that Christ lives in your heart? He's not living far off in heaven. No, he's living in your heart through his Spirit in your inner being. It says, so that, and I pray that you, being rooted and established in love. Paul wants us rooted and established, not in guilt, not in shame, not in fear, but in love, may have power together with all the Lord's holy people to grasp. And I think this is what God wants us to do. He wants us to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ for you and me. Do you realize how loved you really are? God is not frustrated with you. He's not irritated with your frequent mistakes. He's not disappointed with you. You really can do nothing to exhaust the love God has for you. It's truly good news. And Paul goes on, he says, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge. We want to know things because we want to control things, right? But there's a love that's deeper than anything we can know. It's better than anything we can fathom. And that's the love Christ has for you and me, so that we may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. God wants us satisfied when we know his love. He wants us satisfied by his love. He wants us delighted in by his love. He wants us to know just the amazing, awesome breadth of his love, of his grace, of his power, of his presence, that his presence is with us no matter what we go through, no matter what we find ourselves in. I've said this before, but Jesus prayed for us in John 17, and Romans 8 talks about how the Spirit is still interceding and praying for us today. And God's prayer, God's heart for you is for you to know the love he has for you, to know the presence he has in you, for you to know his strength that is at your fingertips at any moment, and for you just to know that he's got you. He wants you rooted. He wants you established in love. He doesn't want you rooted and established in what you do or accomplish. He doesn't want you rooted and established in your failures or your shame. He wants you rooted and established in his love. So today, I just hope you know that you are so loved. And my prayer is the same as Paul's prayer. I just pray that you would come to be established in his love, that you would let Christ strengthen you, that you would know he lives in your heart, and that you would know that you have all of God that you will ever need.
You've been listening to the Daily Devotional Podcast with Zach Maldonado. Join us each day for a new devotional that will help you know and enjoy Christ. For more great content from Zach, including his books, sermons, and more, check out ZachMaldonado.com.